What's going on, everybody? It's your favorite athletic nerd, Cliff Notes, and I'm back. Y'all already know what's going on, so let me go ahead and sign in.
Cliff Notes, Cliff Notes, Cliff Notes, Cliff Notes.
The NBA just announced its All-Star reserves for the 2020 All-Star game, and the question every year is, who got snubbed? But this year, the question is amplified because there's clearly some players that should have made it that didn't, and there's some players that made it that shouldn't have. I told y'all in my last video that the All-Star game voting process is flawed and it really needs to be fixed. I'm here to talk about the players that got snubbed and why. So I'm gonna start off with one of the major snubs, Devin Booker. Booker's averaging 27 points per game and 6 assists, while also shooting 51% from the field in the tough Western Conference. The Suns are currently in the 11th spot in the Western Conference, 3 games back from the Memphis Grizzlies, who have the 8th seed right now. It's amazing that the Suns are even in the 11th seed and only 3 games back from the 8th seed because they started like 30 games without their second best player in DeAndre Ayton. You want to know why the Suns are in that spot right now? Because of Devin Booker. Previous years, the Suns will probably be one of the worst teams in the NBA right now. They have progressed over the years. They're not that dismal franchise that we're all used to. So that the fact that they're 3 games behind the 8th seed is pretty amazing. And it's all because of Devin Booker, like I said. Booker's averaging a career high in points and he's 8th in the league in scoring. He's only behind the names of Harden, Giannis, Trae Young, and Kawhi, who are all having career years. Saying that Devin Booker isn't an all-star over Brandon Ingram, Chris Paul, and Russell Westbrook is just ridiculous and it makes no sense, honestly. Next up, Bradley Beal. This is another WTF major snub because honestly, what the Beal is averaging 28 and 6 while shooting 45% from the field, and he's currently 6th in scoring in the NBA. He's on a terrible Wizards team that doesn't really have much to play for, especially with John Wall missing what seems like yet another season. But Beal himself is playing up to all-star status. He's actually above that status, if you ask me. Players that made it over Beal in the East are Kyle Lowry and Domantas Sabonis. By the way, Devin Booker and Bradley Beal are the only players in the last 35 years to average 27 points per game and not make the All-Star game. Next up, Cat, Karl Anthony Towns. No matter what you have to say about the man, whether you think he's soft or not, you can't deny his talent. He's averaging 27 points per game, which is above his last year's average, 10 rebounds. He's also shooting 51% from the field and 41% from 3-point range. As a big man. Now, I do know that one thing all 3 of these players have in common is that they're on losing teams, and trust me, I get it. But is the All-Star game supposed to showcase the best players in the NBA? You're trying to tell me that Domantas Sabonis is a top 24 player in the NBA this season? So just because the team is a certain seed or overachieving, that means that they're deserved a certain amount of All-Stars? Do they deserve it over the single players that are actually playing like All-Stars? What if that team with the high seed is just constructed really well and they all work well together without it being a single player that's putting them over the hump? And that doesn't mean you have to single out players on that overachieving team and say, well, they're here, so we have to make these 1 or 2 players an All-Star. It doesn't work like that. You can't tell me that Domantas Sabonis is having a better season than Bradley Beal. This all comes back to voting because I'm pretty sure us as fans would understand if we knew what the criteria was for voting for certain All-Star players. Is it the team record, wins, talent, namesake, seeding? Like, what is it? If it was based off winning, then that means that Brandon Ingram shouldn't have made it over Devin Booker because Devin Booker is averaging more points per game and his team has a higher seed than the New Orleans Pelicans. That's where you see where it gets confusing. We don't know what the criteria is. If you give fans a clear cut of this is what players make it and why, then I'm pretty sure we would understand. But right now, it just doesn't make sense. We're unclear on the selection process. We have no idea why one player gets picked over another because it doesn't seem like the same criteria is used for both players. Like, because the Bucks are a #1 seed, do they get 3 All-Stars? When they have it, they don't have 3 players that are playing like All-Stars. Mind you, I know they didn't get 3 All-Stars, but I'm just going off past like interpretations and criteria of what we usually see in the All-Star game voting process. Either way, at the end of the day, like I said before, the voting process is flawed and the NBA should seriously look at changing that before adjusting the actual All-Star game.
Cliff Notes, Cliff Notes, Cliff Notes, Cliff Notes.